Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Starcraft 2 Amateur Hour Live Edition. I'm in the hot seat. I'm nervous.
Guns Akimbo's gonna play some Starcraft. Does it play Starcraft? Play some Starcraft.
Yep.
On Desert Oasis.
And am I Guns Akimbo? Did we say this?
Yeah, you're Guns Akimbo, and I'm Negative Suns, and you're Zerg, and I'm talking.
Great.
And so what are we doing?
So, pretty much right now, we're just gonna cast a couple live games.
Okay.
And in these, I am focusing on an alternate build that I've been doing.
Right, something different than the usual Zerg standard of fast expansion and 3 base Hydralisk macro style.
Yeah, where there's, it's become pretty standard play for all Zerg to go for the economic macro build.
Yes,
and
because they're so good at it.
Yeah, they are, and I'm getting bored of it.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel that way sometimes.
And you know what? Hold on.
But unlike the rest of us, you decided to do something about it.
Yeah.
And what the Guns Akimbo decided to do about it is he's going to keep playing, and I'm going to tell you what he did about it.
Well, to be honest, I actually screwed this entire build up already.
Okay.
But we'll run with
Freestyle.
Yeah.
This is what God intended.
It is what God intended. So usually I'm supposed to have the Overlord, because I was talking, I forgot my Overlord.
Okay. So Guns Akimbo is going to focus harder and be more powerful than ever before.
Yes.
And I'm going to explain what he's trying to do. So Guns Akimbo got a little bored with the standard macro Zerg style, so he decided to innovate. And he wanted to try to fine-tune style and he was like longing for the days of StarCraft Brood War, and he was dreaming about them and missing them, and he started to cry, and from his tears sprang the Tree of Knowledge, from which he ate an apple, and then the apple inspired him to decide to try to fine-tune to try to get the fastest possible Mutalisks that he could get.
Yes, which is going to be pretty slow right now because of my screw-up.
Yeah, so, anyways, but this is a great map for it, and you're going to have time to sort of recompensate for your screw-up, because this is a humongous walking distance map, and you should probably be okay. So this basically what Guns Akimbo has practiced and fine-tuned is skipping Queen completely.
Yeah, and
skipping a second hatchery completely and going straight to Lair and Spire.
Yep.
For literally the fastest and the most fastest, the greatest number of fastest Mutalisks possible, yes. I think. And this does leave him very, very extremely vulnerable, like cheeks spread vulnerable in the mid game.
Wow, yeah.
So
that's me.
Cheeks, guns,
yeah.
Guns, cheeks spread akimbo.
Yeah.
So you really need to finesse those Mutalisks that you get out of the early game and get some sort of advantage. Really, even more than kills, you're looking for time, because you need to use those Mutalisks to bluff and keep your opponent in their base and keep them away long enough for you to catch up economically, because without that Queen and that hatchery, you're falling behind economically like a retarded guy in the Straight Olympics.
In the Straight Olympics,
like a gay guy a gay amputee in the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
I don't know, what am I saying?
I don't know, but okay. So aside from this build being screwed up, here is the Spire going down, and then the Queen being made. And usually I try to get to about 22 supply of drones. And we do have a Marine out, but only one Marine. So hopefully that means he had either. I see the first gas, so I'm hoping that also means Marauder for him.
That would be awesome for you
really
if you had Marauders.
And since this map walking distance is so large, I'm going to skip using any spine crawlers, which means I can get the maximum number, hopefully, of
mutes, which is 7 for this build, right?
7, but a lot of that's gas dependent. But
yeah.
I can easily transition into another building at that point, into another tech.
Okay, so let's see how that goes. You are being a little bit risque by skipping the spine crawlers completely.
Yes.
And not knowing what your opponent's going for. Really.
Yeah, I'll find out.
But we're gonna find out, because that's part of what's so magical about this, is that this moment of not knowing. Because the interesting thing about this build is playing against this as Protoss, there is the greatest advantage of this build is that your opponent doesn't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If they're scouting you, they don't see a fast expansion, which is what they're expecting usually. But they also don't see a lot of Zerglings, which is the next thing that you'd expect.
Yeah.
They do see 2 gas. So, I mean, it's easy to assume that you're going for mutes, but a lot of times you'll think that there's a hidden expo somewhere. So it's sort of, it's tricky. You keep your opponent in the dark. They don't really know what you're doing. And here the Mutalisks are out. There's
6 mutes.
6 mutes.
And then I'm going, because it's Terran, I'm going for a Roach baneling follow-up, if
Cool.
I do need a follow-up at
So
all.
Terran does have that sensor tower, so you got to realize that as soon as you pass into the sensor tower, he will know you're there.
You saw a sensor tower?
You can see the ring of the sensor tower.
Ring around the sensor tower. Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
So
but he is
smart.
completely unprepared for the mutes,
Yes.
the mute avalanche that's falling upon him from the mounts
Oh,
of.
there's a lot of Marines, Marines are always so difficult.
Yeah.
Besides that SCV. Yes.
Nice. Good delay on that. I guess it's a factory.
Oh, and that is a mistake on his end.
Yeah. So this is like very successful mute harass. You've killed most of his SCVs, a lot of his army, and he just has a small pocket of Marines left, which you're able to completely outmaneuver. And because you have so many mutes so early, he was completely unprepared with any sort of defense for this. Even having the sensor tower up, he was unable to get anything in place. So at this point, you've got to be feeling pretty good, right, Guns Akimbo?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Cool. So now is the time when you gotta follow up with, like you said, Roach baneling, but also,
I mean, really, I could technically, if I wanted to, probably win the game on a mute push right now, but
you always
Since-
want to play safe as possible.
exactly, now I'm going around the ring of death here,
Yeah.
and then
So
pulling back in to get some more snipes. Snipe that mule. Oh, and his Marines are a little fast. Oh, get that guy, get him. Yep. Yeah.
Nice. So
now, the big thing is not to lose mutes. I've
Yeah.
already lost 1 or 2, which is
I think
very,
you've lost.
very
I think
bad.
you lost one already, but you're doing an excellent amount of damage. And really, I think you should also bear in mind now, and you are. I can see you have your expansion. Is to start thinking macro, but you also want to make sure you spend some larva on drones, because just having that expansion by itself is not going to carry you anywhere.
Yeah.
Worst case, you're going to come into a place where you're going to give your opponent a chance to catch you up after doing such an awesome harass.
Exactly, and that's the danger of this build and doing it.
Now that he does have those missile turrets up, you are going to start to lose mutes. You've lost 2 so far. Taking out the sensor tower could be huge, but yeah, I don't think he's going to give you the
nope.
chance for that.
Oh, losing too many mutes.
Okay,
but
now I think is the time that you really got to stop trying to push, unless you can do something with these roaches in mass. Really secure your drone count, pump drones, and saturate your expansions.
Yeah.
Because you have such a strong lead now economically with all the SCVs you've killed and all the rebuilding he has to do, that cementing that lead economically now is what's important, and getting just as many drones as you can. Switch over to the normal Zerg macro style at this point. And this is why I like to think of this build as the mid game shuffle, because it's really risky in the mid game. In this particular situation, it paid off beautifully. This is what you want to have happen. Your mid game, it was basically won for you by the mutes. And you can progress to late game saturation on 2 bases, and even take a 3rd base and be in perfect, beautiful place.
Yeah,
So
man.
yeah, so now
whoa.
you have roaches, you have banelings, and he does see you have something outside of his base. Maybe he assumes it's still the mutes. But it looks like, I think a push here could either win you the game or at least push him back so far into the Stone Age that you definitely have it in the bag. Now, things that the Terran could have done differently is, I guess, he really had the best situation that he could have had at that point. He could have had less. He could have had less Marauders and more Marines. He could have done a 2 barracks Marine build. But as Terran, you really want to be safe in all situations, and that's not a build that's safe in all situations.
Oh, which has attacked me?
I think you just flew.
Oh,
you
yeah.
flew
I
past the
wanted to
missile
fly
turret.
into the center tower
Yeah.
because I just wanted to scare him. I want to keep him on his toes still.
Yeah.
Um,
So this is gonna, let's see how this is. I've noticed you've also been talking to me a lot about how you've been using banelings much more lately
yeah, especially against Terran.
against Marines. I think actually, are you gonna show the fine Starcraft Amateur viewers your music video?
I don't know.
Maybe.
Can Sensor Tower see burrowed creatures too?
I mean, I don't know. I think they might be able to or not be able to. I don't know. One of those two.
I love just burrowing.
They're either able to or not able to.
Terran base though, because you really do such damage. So really, like forcing him to follow it with Marines is pretty much my intention right here. And now I'm going to try to push in a little bit with Roaches, and to see if I can draw him out. And did I see something over there?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna. It's just a bird thing. I don't think you're gonna be able to draw him out really because he really is vulnerable. He really is in like not in a safe spot right now.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's gonna be. He's gonna be very hesitant to leave his base.
And this is where
like a scared turtle in its shell.
I mean, technically, I could break this right here if I wanted to with a baneling bust.
Yeah.
My resources are getting very high.
Is he moving out? Oh, nice. So I guess just there we go. Beautiful. That was so nice. I love seeing that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nice setup, Guns Akimbo.
Thank you. Even though I feel like I could have gotten more out of there, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I think that you're in a situation now where you're gonna be pretty much wiping up.
Yeah. And this is where I could, even if I want to put it back on gas, and I pulled things off gas earlier to kind of have more minerals, but I think even going back to mutes really at this point is fine. Or really I could just clean up with Roaches, really whatever I want to do.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, we should really clean. You should don't string the poor man longer than necessary. Yeah. But the cool thing about this is it's highlighting some alternatives to that normal 3-base mass Hydralisk macro style. And some alternatives that are more micro intensive, more of a micro play style than a macro style. So and that are pretty effective under the right circumstances. So, and that being that really fast Mutalisk build to leverage an advantage mid game, and just some tricks with banelings. I think banelings have a lot of dynamic to them that can be used in various situations. Like, you essentially used your banelings. They're like spider mines from Brood War.
Yeah, I like spider mines.
And that's one way that they're not used that often. That I've seen most of the time. I see them used, like running in with Zerglings. You know what I mean? So, that's an interesting use of them.
Yeah, man.
There's not much to say now as far from the Terran end of things. I mean, Terran's really basically lost this game. You would have to basically run all your drones into his base and let him kill all of them deliberately at this point in order for Terran to come back, I think.
Probably, but I mean, there's
always a chance that he's building battle cruisers
right now. Yeah, right now I'm being a bit sloppy as well, and that's actually a really good point. He's going air.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I would probably do in this situation too if I was in his shoes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he does think you have Mutalisks, and like most, when you see mutes, you probably think you have many more mutes now than you do.
Yeah.
But you do want to just be careful, and you probably should try to finish him off pretty soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on.